Now recording, don't swear. Right,
Okay.
I'm now recording, don't swear. Right, before we say anything,
I'll try.
I'm gonna change my view so that I can see gallery view. There we go. I can see you now. Obviously, the people watching this can't see you. But so this is
Okay.
part 2 of the video that we have been doing on your journey to stop smoking, all that addiction stuff. So I haven't spoken to you at all. We've had a couple of messages and I think things are going okay. But this is the big reveal. 7 days on. I think, is it 7 or is it 6?
6.
It's 6, isn't it? Right, it's 6. Okay. Doesn't matter.
6. It was last Wednesday we saw each other.
Yeah. So 6 days on. How are you feeling?
6 days on, I've saved 120 cigarettes. I'd have been smoking 20 a day now.
That's 120. That's 120 quid.
It's not been easy because I've kept the cigarettes I would have smoked in those 6 days. The temptation's still there around me.
Yeah.
It's I don't know, it's been strange. It's been hard because I knew it was going to be hard, but it's not been hard. I know I'm not really making myself clear. When I've done it before, I did it because I was poorly.
Yeah.
And then I did it, I tried to give up smoking again, and I was using the Nicorette patches.
Yeah.
And I was still having, when I spoke to you first, I mentioned the taste, the craving taste in the back of my throat. I'm not getting that.
Cool.
I'm not using patches. I'm heavily using my vape, but I'm not using any patches. But I haven't got that gasping feeling, and I'm finding I'm not as angry either.
Okay. And this is
when I've
really
tried to
important.
give up in the past, I've been angry with it.
Yeah. And I think this is really important because I think we need to put this into context. And this is real. This is what is really important. So you've said that you're using your vape at the moment. Okay. So
yeah,
let's look around that in regards to your vape. So we've stopped smoking, so that's good. But now you're using the vape, which is fine. However, tell me what the connection is about with the vape. What if you didn't have that vape? What would you be able to do? Is that a habit thing of actually having something, or is it that you still need that?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's something that off camera we'll talk about. Yeah, go on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's still. I'm trying to sort of associate myself with a habit. So yeah, it's still me doing the hand to mouth thing.
Yeah.
And having some kind of taste at the back of my throat.
Yeah. So
I'm not nicotine in my vape.
Yeah.
So I'm not, I'm.
Yeah, go on. I keep interrupting you. I did this last time. Sorry. Go on. You talk.
It's okay. It's okay. No, it's okay. Yeah, like I said, I'm not using any nicotine in the vape. I don't know how I'd feel about stopping that because I don't find it as repulsive now as I do the smoking and the other habits.
Yeah. So I think it's really important. Let's put this into context. Let's put it into context. Okay. So.
Okay.
Where you were before the session.
Yeah.
To where you are now.
Yeah.
Would this ever have been possible? And be honest. Is this a place that you've been before? Do you feel different? Obviously, you tried to give up smoking before, but does this feel different? Does it feel, when you say it feels hard, does it feel hard? How do you feel? Does it feel different? Does the experience feel different? And be honest, because this is why I'm doing this.
Yeah, it definitely feels different. Yeah, it's still like there's a part of me missing, but I'm not angry with it. And because I've got that many changes to make because of how heavy a smoker I was and how much of a part of a life it was, I feel as though I'm having to change so many aspects. Yeah. But it's not been as I have done it for this long. No, I haven't done it for this. I did it for this long before when I was on my deathbed, Marcus. It took me till that, you know, and then I probably stopped for around a month because, as I say, being very, very poorly. But it started back up again, and it was only because I was poorly that I managed to do it for that amount of time. Otherwise, never in my life have I gone this long before.
So let's put this into context.
Never.
So for anybody watching this, I'm going to put this into context because this is brilliant. I love this because you've not come on and gone, oh yeah, I stopped and it was all brilliant and all the rest of it. Now, some people do have that, but I think it's important to put into context when it comes to addiction, you know, whether that be drug addiction, whether that be smoking, whether it be alcohol. It's never about the thing, it's about the connection. And as you've just said, it's actually been such a massive part of your life. Then to just take that away and not have it is quite difficult. So every habit of action is driven by a habit of thought. So what you're now doing is the first 7 to 10 days within RTT is kind of the critical phase. It's the bit where the neuroplasticity is happening. It's quite new in your brain, in your mind, and it's laying down that stuff, and it's laying it down and it's laying it down. But the mind loves the familiar. It will want to drag you back. But the difference is someone described this to me. They said, I think it was Steph on the other video that I've done. Steph said, you know, before I didn't have the willpower. And she said, but she said, I thought it was willpower. And she said, but it's not willpower because it feels different to what willpower is. So I'd really love to know your interpretation of that. Does it feel different to willpower?
Yeah, it does. Before, when I've tried to stop smoking in the past, before the therapy, I've had willpower and I've lost the willpower. Whereas now I find I'll think maybe, you know, yeah, I could have a cigarette, but I wouldn't because of how far off. And I don't really need to. If I think about it, I don't really need to. Whereas before I would have needed to. I would have needed to get it, but now I don't. I'll think about it and put it back out of my mind again.
Yes. Now I can relate to this. Okay. So I refuse to work with anybody to do with weight. So I wouldn't, because I had a big tummy and all the rest of it. And actually, if you look at some of my YouTube videos and look at the original videos, I look as though I've had my face blown up. So I would never work with anybody to do with weight because I hadn't done the work myself. Anyway, so I work with a very, very good RTT therapist who's one of the trainers at Marissa Peer. She's brilliant, Lauren. And I read her book. I read Marissa's book. Now, what I now do is, a bit like you said, I don't know if we mentioned this, when I think it is on the video, and I said, you can choose to smoke if you want. It's not about you not being able to smoke. You can, you're an adult, you can do whatever you want. But I'm the same. So in our cupboard downstairs, the middle cupboard, it's where the kids' sweets are. There's chocolate bars. There's this, that, and the other. There's crisps. So if I wanted to go down there and have a Mr. Kipling's chocolate cake, I could have one. And actually, I've tried this. So this is my experience. This is around food, not necessarily smoking. But I've had food now because I've kind of weaned myself off it. I know I can have it. It smells nice and all the rest of it. But I always feel ill. And one of the biggest things I did was cut out wheat. Not that I'm gluten intolerant or anything like that, but I know that wheat is like glue. And I hated this because I love pizza. I love this. That, and that. On a Sunday, I will always have a Yorkshire pudding. All right. Probably shouldn't have one. It's not brilliant for it, but there's no way I'm having a roast dinner without Yorkshire pudding. Monday morning, I am always ill.
No.
Monday morning, I'm always ill. And my wife said, you've done the work now. Why do you have it? I don't know. I just like it. But I know I cannot have it. I know that if I have it, I'm going to be ill. Okay. So I do that. But the difference is with that is that that's my choice. And actually, when it comes down to eating, I'm 80-20. I'm not going to be full on vegan. I like food, you know, I like my food. I'm not going to deny it, but it's all about moderation. But what I found is though, that if there are certain foods now that I eat them, the taste isn't there. I eat it and it's like, you know, I didn't kind of enjoy that. I was like really indifferent to it, and now it's making me ill. So I kind of go, well, what is the point of me eating it? I'm not enjoying it. It makes me feel I want to do it. What's the point in doing it? You know, but I know that you're in that transition phase now. So what we need to work on next is that habit. How do we change the vaping? Because obviously the vaping is still better than smoking, obviously. But now we need to go, right, I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to make a choice. And that's one of the, you need to make that choice. And go, okay, 7 days in, the next 7 days, I'm going to not have the vape. Or I'm going to say, you know, I can have it, but I'm going to try something different. I'm just going to play around. And this is when you can be playful. So you go, do you know what? I'm going to get my vape. No, I'm not. I'm going to get a glass of water. Because remember I said about that, substitute with something that's going to flush your system out. Now, I'm pushing you here.
Okay, yeah.
As I say with RTT, this is my ego more than anything else now, is that it's 1 to 3 sessions. So it's 1 session, no more than 3. I always say to people, I want you to get to where you need to get to in 1 session and the 21-day support. That's my ego. That's not the therapy. That's just me because I didn't want to be in therapy. I want people to have a fix. I want people, but I can't do that. That is absolutely up to you. So this is about being playful. And this is the way that I did it when it came to food and when it came to everything that I've done really, is I go, I can have it. And you've already done this with smoking. I can have it, but I'm not going to have that. I'm going to choose to drink water. I'm going to choose to meditate and do some deep breathing. So now it's time to be playful with it. You've got the confidence that you've gone 7 days, which is amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
Without having a cigarette.
Thank you.
And let's face it, from what you told me beforehand, this isn't just about smoking. There's obviously the smoking is just an outpouring. There's obviously other work that we can certainly do. So this is why, for anybody who knows, I actually had a competition on this. And one of the people who moderates on my Facebook group, we had a chat, and this is why you were chosen, because actually, for me, you're the kind of the background and everything that's kind of hooks you to smoking and everything like that. It's quite an extreme, not an extreme case. You're not an extreme case. That's wrong for me to say, but it's me as a therapist. And it pushes you as a client. So this is kind of, we're going to talk about smoking. This is kind of worst case scenario for smoking in regards to getting you to go through this process in 21 days. You know, I would say most therapists, RTT therapists are going to say, do you know what? This is probably going to take 2 sessions, but I'm just doing this. And this is why I'm being, and I think what I think is brilliant is that if we take Steph's story, Steph's was similar to yours, but she stopped straight away. She wasn't vaping. She just stopped. You've stopped smoking, but you've gone, I'm just going to use my vape. But I just want to ask. Are you using the vape because it gives you that replacement, or is it more of a habit? Is it more of that kind of having something to do with your hands? You know, be honest. I mean, what would you say?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is. Yeah, when I find myself in the situation that the cigarette does come into my mind, then it is I can associate the hand to mouth. Yeah, and like I've always said to you, it's that feeling at the back of my throat. It seems to satisfy that a little bit.
Yeah.
Although it's not an angry craving that's there anymore.
Yeah.
But it seems to surpass it. Yeah.
So one of the things that's really important. I was going to say, one of the things that you've done, and this is what RTT does, is it gives you an awareness. So maybe before you didn't have a cognitive awareness of that process. So this is where I always talk about choice. So when it comes to you now saying, okay, I've got that craving, it's the feeling is different. And I think that's important. That's what RTT does. It's about changing the feeling. So the feeling has changed. It's not angry. There's kind of no feeling there, but there's just a habit still there in your throat. I need to do that. Now, this is the brain trying to pull you back to where you are, but you're going, well, I don't want to go back. So you're in no man's land at the moment. And that is perfectly normal at this stage. That's why it's a 21-day process. Absolutely. You know, should I do this and should I do that? And I talked a bit about the healing crisis. which is where you can get, I mean, have you had any fallout? Have you had any headaches? Have you had anything like that? Have you felt ill?
Yeah, I did have an experience. And yeah, I did. I had an experience. I think it was, I think it might have been Saturday. And I come over, I'm very, very lightheaded, and flushed. I keep having sweats.
Yeah.
And I think that could be withdrawal symptoms from,
what it's going to be is that your body now is going to start to go through that repair process. So what's happening is now, is that as part of obviously the transformation recording that we do, is that if you're compelling your body to start repairing and flushing that out, it's like having an oil change. So that's basically what's happening in your body. Now, the important thing with that is to really honor it and understand it. And it's the same with using your vape. It's about saying, I'm using that and that's fine. And that's my choice. So now it's a case of going, actually, do I want to keep using my vape? Am I happy using my vape? Or is that something that I want to get rid of? Because there's always, the analogy that I use is that, I think it's Robin Sharma says, it's difficult at the beginning, messy in the middle, and glorious at the end. So you've done the hard bit. Now you're in the messy bit, and at the end, hopefully it's glorious. But I always use this analogy. When you need to grow a fruit tree, the first thing you need to do is plant the fruit tree in the crap, in the mud, in the poo. Best thing to fertilize anything, stick it in poo. So you've been in poo. If you stay in the poo too long, the seed will just rot and it'll never germinate. So the next thing that needs to happen is that the seed needs to crack open, and that's painful. It's splitting open. It's like a muscle. If you want to grow a muscle, you got to tear the muscle. It's painful. And then the seed has to push through the soil, doesn't know what it's doing. And then it'll push through and it gets battered by the wind, and it'll get stronger over time. It's all about having that dialogue and making those decisions and just asking yourself and just saying, do I need this? Do I want it? Why do I need it? What does it give me? And that's what I do. And that's why, have I given you access to the journaling course yet? I don't know if I've given you access to the journaling course.
I don't think so, no.
So I'll explain this to you. And if I haven't, because I normally don't do it until kind of about 7 days, but I'll give you access to this course. It's very, very simple. So journaling is probably one of the most powerful things you can do. It's about getting it out of your head, any thoughts out of your head and onto paper. But once you've had RTT, it becomes easier. So there is a meditation called the morning mantra, which basically sets you up. And then it's called the 4R method, even though one of them is a W. Right. So what you do is you do the meditation and then you write down whatever comes into your head. And then you read it back. So let's say, for example, you go, Marcus is a complete idiot. I wish he wouldn't have stopped me smoking. I really need a fag now. Okay. So what you then do is you read that back and you go, which is the truth? So let's forget the first bit. So which is the truth? I really need a cigarette. And you go, why do I need a cigarette? Where is the need? Where is the story? Why is that a truth? Well, it isn't a truth because I know the reason why I smoke now. So I have no need for a cigarette. It's a choice. And then, so that's you've read it. And then you reframe it, but you don't reframe it by saying, I don't need a cigarette, because that's a negative. What you say is, why don't I need a cigarette? And then you would write down, I don't need a cigarette because it has no power over me anymore. I don't need a cigarette because of da, 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 da. I am perfectly happy without smoking because I have other options. I can drink water. I can do this. I can do that. I can do the other. And by doing that process and then reading it back, you reload it back into your brain. So if you imagine you've got your subconscious mind where the RTT is working in your transformation recording, and then we've got the conscious mind. So it's your yin and yang. You're then, that helps you cognitively. So subconsciously, the work's been done. Now, cognitively, we need to do that. And I think it's also really important, and I'll ask this question. Obviously, your other half smokes. How are you finding being around cigarettes? Because I think that's important, because when we're in an environment, we tend to, that can be sometimes can be difficult. So how are you finding that when you smell the cigarette smoke? What does that do?
To be honest, I'm asking him to keep away, so I haven't seen a lot of smoking.
Okay.
But I did see my brother smoke. I was in the same room as my brother smoking, and all I could see were what you told me to see in the video. Was the hacking cough.
Yeah.
And I could just see him sitting there in a cloud of smoke with grey skin and brown circles around his eyes.
Yeah.
And it really made it. That's the first time I've ever thought of smoking like that.
Yeah.
Whereas I would have loved to be in that cloud before.
Yeah.
But I could find myself stepping away because I didn't want to be in that situation.
Yeah.
And I find I'm listening to the recording every night, sometimes in the morning as well.
Yeah.
And I'm still finding new things coming out of the recording.
Yes. And you will. And I think that's really important. That's a fantastic, I never thought about that. And this is what you'll find is that although it's my words, what's happening is, this is why the words aren't that, they are important, but they're going in subconsciously. Have you had any memories flick up? Have you had any kind of things happen? Have you felt you've kind of gone really, you've sunk deep or you've gone asleep? Just explain that experience as you've been listening to the recording over, the past 6 days.
Well, when I had the therapy, I spoke to you briefly after the session, and it was I think it was around 6 o'clock we started the session. I couldn't get out of bed, Marcus, after. My family was coming in asking me how it went. I couldn't move my head off the pillow. I said, I'm going to have to speak to you in the morning. I was absolutely exhausted. But it's just so therapeutic, and the words, and I'm not just saying that you're very good at what you do. And the words that you were using were really strong and powerful. And it's made me think like I would have never thought of things before.
And I think that's really important. And it's the same with you. So words are powerful. So when we say things like, I'm a failure, or I can't do it, or I'm rubbish, or I'm stupid, the subconscious mind takes that in. So if you're saying to yourself, I can't give up my vape, it will. So so what you do is you use softer words with that. You use words that aren't impactful, and you just say things like, my vape has no power over me. I don't need it. So you make it different. It's like, and that's the way that when you talk to yourself, it's you don't say, I can't do this, or I need this. What you say is, I'm choosing to have it, but I know I can give it away, and I'm going to give it away now. Actually, I'm not going to use it. So having that dialogue, the subconscious mind then becomes indifferent to it, and over time, it then starts to go, it just fades away over time. So what's been the reaction from family? Because I know that was, we didn't mention that in the video, but I know there's a discussion around this. Is it going to work? And because you've got family that smoke. So what's their reaction been? Have they gone, you're not going to do this? Or are they surprised? What's their reaction?
A lot of my family skeptical towards therapy, and I didn't, obviously, and not a lot of them heard of the RTT therapy. So with the current situation, I haven't seen a lot of my family, obviously, with lockdown. But so I haven't spoke to a lot of people about it, but the people who are closest to me, that, they'll ask me how it goes, but they're trying not to bring it up with me. We call it the S word, the smoking word. So it's a bit of a taboo at the moment. Because they think if they mention it to me, it'll make me want to start smoking again. So I think we're not really having a lot of discussions about it.
So I would actively open that discussion up, because actually what they're doing is that they're portraying a fear. And actually, if you're strong in your own sense of the fact that you've made this decision that you're going to give up, it actually doesn't matter what anybody else says. It's worth having those conversations, because if they say something like, I didn't believe that you'd be able to do it for this long. Actually, that's really powerful, because what you say to yourself is, oh my God, how powerful am I that actually I didn't think I could do this, but I am doing that. So actually you're reinforcing. And this is what I think I put that in the recording, is that actually take pride. When you have a cigarette, it made you feel better before. Now it doesn't make you feel better. So, celebrate the fact that you've got that power. Celebrate the fact that you've been able to do what you've been able to do. I haven't done it. Okay. I have not done this. I haven't done it. A friend of mine is a Reiki master says, "Oh, Marcus, you're a healer." I am not a healer. I do not heal, cure anybody. All I do is I show you what the root cause and reason is, and then together we find out how we can go about it, and then you make the choice whether you do it or not. It ain't my life.
Yeah.
And I said that to you.
Yeah.
My ego comes in but my ego only comes in because I actually want people to know about this therapy. I want to know that they can have the power. For me, so my kind of thing on my logo is empowering you to change your life. It is not about me.
Yeah.
It is about you. It's about giving you your life back, giving you back the thing that you want, but you didn't know why you could do it. So it is not about me.
Yeah.
You know, I'll talk about RTT until the cows come home. Actually, what do I want? I'd love to be able to do this and make money and impact more people, but I don't want any fame. I don't want any notoriety. The only reason I'm doing these videos is to tell stories, to tell your story, to tell people that actually the hardest. So I'm going to come into this actually because this segues quite nicely. Let's go back to when you started this journey. You started this journey. What were your feelings? What was it attracted you to RTT? What was your skepticisms? What was your this isn't going to work? The crap? What was your thoughts pre this? And what are your thoughts now? So somebody's listening to this and it might not be smoking. It could be anything that they know they need help, or maybe they don't know they need help. They're just not happy in their life. And, you know, they're skeptical because therapy is seen as being negative. Being vulnerable is seen as negative. Okay. I don't care what it's good to talk. Bullshit. Okay. Talking means you lose your power, and then all of a sudden you get a badge of that you're anxious, or you got PTSD, or you're a drug addict, or whatever it is. Actually, that experience is not a positive one. So that is just PR BS. No. Tick a box, and everybody knows it. Hence the reason why we got a mental health crisis. And this is why your story is so important. So tell me about your thought change in regards to where you were and where you are now, knowing what you know now. If you knew where you were now, would you have ever hesitated or thought, or would you just gone, I'm going to do it? If you were the person watching this video, what would you be saying?
Yeah. If the people in the video knew me and knew how I was and knew how I've come from a family of smokers, an upbringing of smoking, then they would know how it's changed me as a person. So if you are thinking, if you've got any thoughts about not doing it, or basically, I was at the end of my tether. I basically felt as though I'd got nowhere else to turn, and I'd got no choice but to have the therapy. Even though I felt as though I couldn't afford to have the therapy, I felt as though I'd got no choice. I was at the end of the line. I thought, you've just said in the video that it wasn't you making the changes, it was me. But when I first wanted the therapy, I thought that's what you were going to do. You were going to implant it in my mind, and it was you going to be doing all the work, and I didn't need any willpower. That's how I thought it was going to be. Since having this session, I've realised that it's different. That, like you say, you're implanting in the words into me. I don't know. I'm not very good at.
But do you feel it? What? So this is the thing. So this is what therapy, when people go to therapy, this is what I think of therapy, and what I think everybody else thinks of therapy. I've got a problem. So here's my problem. Let's call it smoking. And this is what we do when we do talking therapy, is we go, here's my problem. And we give it to the person, and they hold it, and they listen to us moaning and procrastinating. Yeah. And then at the end of the session, they go, thanks for that. There's your problem back. So during that hour's therapy session that people have, then they feel good, they feel fluffy, they feel empowered, you know, what we're doing now. But then they walk out the door, and all of a sudden they go, oh my God, I'm still holding that feeling. I'm still holding that problem. It's not gone away. I've just had a respite for an hour or 30 minutes. do you feel more empowered and more in control of your decision makings around smoking now?
100%, 100%. Yeah, I feel without the RTT, I would have just been another failed. It would have just been another failed attempt. I'm quite sure it would have been another failed attempt, because I just hadn't got the. It's not as if I hadn't got the motivation. I just felt as though I couldn't do it. I felt as though I would always be a smoker, always. But yeah, I really. Go on.
No, I was going to say, I think if everybody notices, I just want to pick a word here that you keep saying over and 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 over again. Feel. It's about I feel this, I felt that.
Yeah.
You can't talk out a feeling. This is what RTT is about. It's about taking a story and a feeling that are connected together and then severing them. Because you said, I feel different. So it's not that you weren't a smoker. It's not that had a massive part of your life. It's just that the feeling that you'd attached to smoking now is completely different. And because it's different, that gives you a completely different perspective. So one of the things, and I think I use this as an analogy, but I'll put this, is that if people are watching this and they're thinking of a block in their life, whether it be smoking, anxiety, whatever it is, think of that block as a wall. And the wall is a sign, and it says, right, to get on with your life, you've got to jump over the wall. So, for example, it may say on there, to stop smoking, you have to go cold turkey, use patches, do this, because that's what you're told you need to do. And what I do, or what RTT does, is that we scan that area and we look for the options, and we get a light and we shine it, and we notice at the side of the wall there's a gap, and we go walk around the wall. So it's about perspective. And you say that's right, is that what you've got now is that you still smoked, you still need to give up, but your perspective on how you're going to do that and the possibility is completely changed. Would you say that's it?
Yeah. And that's the perfect way of explaining it. 100%. Yeah, that's exactly what I'd say. Exactly what I'd say, Marcus, really. And it's not as difficult.
Yeah, you're still going
definitely
through
not
change.
As difficult. Definitely,
you're still going through a change.
Yeah.
I mean, I liken it to, let's take for example, give me a hobby. If you've got a hobby, I tell you what, riding a bike. Riding a bike. Riding a bike.
Okay. Yeah.
So when you're a kid, even with stabilizers, you get on that bike, it's a bit unfamiliar and you wobble around, but normally your mum or your dad or somebody's at the back just holding the seat, making sure you're okay. And then as you go on a few more days, then they might let go of the seat, but you're still wobbling, you've still not got it. At some point, so at the moment you're using your vape, that's the stabilizers, but you're feeling a little bit more confident, you're whizzing around on with your stabilizers on. So your vape is your stabilizers. So at some point you're going to get bored with that. You want to be able to get lower down, you want to be able to do this, you've got to take the stabilizers off. So in the next week or so, that's what we're going to be looking at, is getting the stabilizers off, because as soon as you get the stabilizers off, then opportunity opens up. Because what then happens is, you said that you would have smoked, I don't know how much cigarettes are now, but would you say that you've saved this week about 120 quid? Or is it less than that with everything?
Yeah, it would probably be about that, Marcus. Yeah. So it probably would have been. So
look at that, £120 a week. All right. It doesn't take a rocket science to work out that. Let me get my calculator. I think I know the figure, but I'll and I know it's crude to talk about money, but I want to take this into account. So £120 times.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to put this into perspective. You're spending £120 a week. Where do you want to go on holiday in 12 months? Because when you carry on doing this, and then you obviously get rid of your vape and you're not buying the vaping stuff, in 12 months, you'd have saved £6,240.
No way. That's crazy.
120.
Crazy.
120. I'll do it again. 120 times 52 equals £6,240. So let's say you live for another 20 years. So you're going to save over the next 20 years £124,800.
Wow. Wow. And to be fair, if I'd have been carrying on at the rate I was at, Marcus, I wouldn't have been here for another 20 years, I don't think.
So let's take that. Let's just take that little mathematical equation, and let's say you're 30, and you're going to live.
Yeah, we can go with that.
Yeah. So you will be by the time you finish, because your body will flush out and you'll look 30. Right. So let's 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So let's say you live until you're 80 and you're 30 now, times 5. 120 times 52 equals, times that by 30 equals £187,200.
Wow. Wow.
That kind of guarantees your mortgage is paid off.
Yeah, definitely.
So actually,
definitely.
If you're 30, if you're in your 20s or your 30s and you're smoking, the amount you're spending £120 a week on your habit, you could afford to buy a second home.
Wow. Unreal.
Now
Never
tell me that it's not worth the money. Because you've got your money back by the end of the session. And this is the way that I look at it, is that that's why the support package is in. So you're looking at getting the fix first, and then I support you for the 21 days. And that's kind of the way it works. Because what that means is, for the cost of the therapy, you have paid, actually, it's probably more than that. Let me just, bear with me 2 seconds. So 120 times 1. Actually, I lie. If you're on my base package, bear with 2 seconds. Start again. 120 divided by 7 equals, times by 21. Okay, so 360 quid.
Okay.
So if you went on my base package, which you're not on just my base package, but if you're on my base package, which majority, I would say 90% of my smoking clients do, by the end of the 21 days, you are £61 up.
Amazing.
£61 up at the end of the 21 days.
Yeah.
How much it costs.
Yeah.
Now tell me you can't afford it.
Yeah. I know.
Well, it's the fear.
It's right. And with them long term,
and that's why we're doing this. So
yeah.
I'm going to ask this question, and I don't know if you can answer it yet, but where you are now, 7 days on, what value has going through this process given to you? What is it given you in regards to your life? Forgetting the smoking, but what has it given you more than the fact you're not smoking anymore? How do you feel about yourself?
It's given me hope. So much better. I was struggling with my breathing, to get a satisfying breath. I seem to be, when again, it was something you said during the RTT as well. Taking deep breaths. I feel better. I look in the mirror in the morning, and the circles around my eyes are disappearing slowly. I can tell I'm having a bit of colour coming back into my skin. Obviously, it's still early days, but I can notice a changeable difference in myself. And the smell. I'd go to work, I'd have one before I got into work, and then I'd be spraying myself with perfume and deodorants, and I think there's nothing worse than a smoker, and you can smell all the smells, perfume and cigarettes and stuff, trying to mask it. But now I go into work and I can smell myself being fresh.
What about taste?
That's massive for me.
Food taste? Have you found that your taste buds are any different? It's okay to say no. It's just, I know that that's something that some people say.
Yeah.
Some people say that they found,
yeah.
and I found this when I did my RTT in regards to weight and stuff like that. That I found that getting rid of sugar, getting rid of kind of complex carbohydrates and all that sort of stuff, I could taste food better. So everything became, so it's like sugar now is like, oh God, you know. But tomatoes, really nice tomatoes, are like sweets. And it's really interesting. You've frozen a bit, that we come back. It's really interesting. So that'll be an interesting thing to see, just to notice. But what I want you to do over the next 7 days is really look at these changes and just go, oh, wait a minute, I've noticed that I don't smell anymore and I have to mask it with perfume. You know, really look at your skin and really look for those positives. So don't concentrate on going, I'm having my vape. Just go, I can have my vape and that's fine. But actually, Marcus has told me that by the end of this year, I could have £6,000. Well, I'm still paying for my vape liquid. So actually, if I get rid of that, that's my motivation. You know, plan, write down, go. You know, I know we can't book anything at the moment, but say, do you know what? I'm going to treat myself.
Yeah.
And in 12 months' time, I'm going on a shopping spree, or in 12 months' time, I'm going to go and have a makeover. In 12 months' time, I'm going to go and we're going to go on holiday somewhere. I'm going to go to New York. Because if you say went on that holiday, say you went on a shopping spree to New York, or you went to the Maldives or wherever it was, any money that you now spend is you're up. So after 21 days, if you put the money that you're spending on cigarettes away, that holiday becomes a free holiday in real terms. Because if you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Actually, you're printing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And you're extending your life. So when you go through that, I need to have a vape, or I need to have this, think about, okay, I've already quit the smoking. Everything becomes possible now because this was impossible.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So all we do.
Yeah.
Go on.
Sorry. That's how I'd feel about the giving up the vape, basically, to be a walk in the park compared to giving up what I have.
So this is about challenge. So now you can challenge yourself, play with it. You've done the hard work. The hard work is done now. Everything now is where, if I were to say to you, just stop now, you'd have gone, that is impossible. You'd say that is impossible. I would never have been able to do that. Yeah. Yeah. So what have we done? We've changed the perspective on what impossible looks like. And we've changed it to I'm impossible now. Same letters, we've just reordered them. So anything, you now know that anything that you want to do, you can do. It is possible. And this is the one thing that I did. But you need to be responsible for it. And you don't need to be a complete junkie like me and really want to deep dive into quantum theory and really look into the proper woo-woo-y stuff and energy and quantum physics and all that stuff. But you now know that actually, if you put your mind to something, there's nothing stopping you. Yeah. Yeah. I feel a lot more confident as a person as well. Yeah, I do. Yeah. I had a client that I worked with. I'll just tell you this just as an aside, but it was somebody who had come to me for a completely different thing, but ended up having to speak to somebody. They're a manager, and they ended up speaking to somebody that for the first time since they've been a manager, they've been able to take that person to one side, have a chat with them, and have a conversation that a manager would have, because they didn't feel that they could do that before. But now they're not that inner child. So for people who don't know, this is about creating the inner child, that voice within that tells us we can't do something, to the adult that we are. So no, that's brilliant. Is there anything, we won't go on too much longer, but is there anything else that you want to say about this process? Because we'll catch up again. I mean, it's up to you whether you want to catch up in 7 days or we'll wait until the end. It's up to you. But if somebody's watching this, whether it's smoking, whether it's anything really, and they're going, it won't work, I don't believe in therapy doesn't work, what would you say to them? And I'm not talking about me. It does. It does, because it's not about me. all I give you is the things that you need to be able to do it. And I think that's the difference, isn't it? Is that I love this therapy. I use this therapy, you know, it got me from being suicidal to helping people like you, because it empowers you. And that's what RTT is. It empowers you to know that you can do whatever you put your mind to. Yeah, brilliant. I'm so proud of you.
And that's the word that I was just going to use. Bless you, thank you. And I'm pleased. I still do think it's a jointed effort, definitely. Because definitely without the therapy, like I say, I wouldn't have got through it. So you have the word that you've just used, empowered. You've empowered me to be able to do it and given me the confidence to believe in myself. When I've tried to stop smoking, my daughter said to me before, you just need somebody to talk to, because it was the worst kept secret. And she says, you just need somebody to, and I've talked to you and you've listened. So yeah, people might be skeptic about therapy, but everybody needs somebody to talk to. And when you can get it out and open your demons up, I think it frees your own mind up to be able to stop.
It creates space. And I think the thing is, you said talking, but for me, the key thing is it is talking, but the thing that's missing in most therapy is releasing the feeling to the talking. So the talking is important. It's important that, you know, you're supported, but it's actually then releasing the feeling, because once you've released the feeling, the cognitive stuff becomes easier, because most people will say, well, I know I shouldn't smoke. I know I shouldn't do this. I know I shouldn't do that, but I feel. But as soon as we change the feeling to an empowered feeling where you go, I can do this, you come from a place of empowerment and choice, not from a place of I don't understand.
I see what you're saying there.
And that's what it's that's what it's about. You know, this stuff has been around for a long time. It's not new. It's just the way in which it's now been packaged. And I think you're right. It is a partnership, and I think that's another thing that's important. I don't like the word client, I'll be honest. I only use it because that's the correct phrase. But it isn't about me telling you what to do. It's about me being there to walk the path with you, to show you the direction, to say, okay, you can go down that route. This is what you'll get. You can go down that route, and this is what you'll get. And this is the reason why I'm telling you this. You now make the choice. And that's kind of what I do, because you're the one that makes the choice. And I never say you should do this, you should do that. All I will say is that when people don't take my advice and it goes wrong, then I go, well, try the thing that I said. I'm the worst for this. Okay. So when it came to journaling, the reason why I did my journaling course was that my coach was saying to me, Marcus, journal it. You know, journaling works. I can't bother with journaling. It's for girls. Nothing was going right. It wasn't working. And then I went, maybe I should listen. Maybe I should listen to Joe. All right, I'll get my journal out. And then all of a sudden, bam, shift, bam, shift, bam. She's like, balls. She was right. Ugh.
Right.
You know, and that's, you have to go through that process. You have to fail. You have to find your own path. You have to do that. You know, and that's what you're doing at the moment. And that's why I think it's so important that although I say I've got a 99% success rate in people stopping smoking, I have. You've stopped smoking. But you're on your vape. Okay, that's not a bad thing, because you are much further along than you were before. So what we need to do is we need to see in the next 7 days, in the next 21 days, where are you with the vape? Does the vape have any reason to be in your life? So that's my next challenge for you, to say, can we get rid of the vape?
Well, and that's what I'll take my hat off to you, because like you say, you've done your 99% figure. So you've done what we needed to do with the addiction, but you're still interested in the vaping, and that's just amazing.
Yeah,
thank
so
you.
My challenge now, so the 21-day challenge for me, or the rest of the 21-day challenge for me, and this is where my cognitive coaching comes in. So if anybody who's working with me on my coaching packages, this is what I say. So my next challenge is, and I will push you for 21 days. Even if you do it, I'll push you for something else.
Okay.
So the next 21 days, I want you to be the next few days, I want you to be looking at, right, can we get rid of the vape? Well, we can get rid of it. It's whether you choose to do.
Yeah.
Let's start opening those conversations up. Let's start getting really cocky. Let's start kind of going, yeah, you're smoking. Great. I don't smoke anymore. You die. That's fine. I don't mean that in a horrible way. But what I'm saying is actually
Yeah.
start to take pride in the fact. Don't allow people to go, oh, we're not going to go anywhere near because we don't want to mention the S word. You could talk about it. You can put away, you can do whatever you want. It doesn't bother me anymore. And the reason why I'm telling you to do that, because it freaks people out. And it's so funny. It's hilarious. You know, when I went through my breakdown, don't talk about the breakdown. And I will openly talk about it now. I'm proud of the fact that I went through that and I got myself sorted, and I'm empowering other people, and I'm a great evangelist because it empowers me to go, you thought I was that person. You thought I was weak. You thought that I had to be in therapy for 6 months, 12 months, and I wasn't. And I take pride out of that now. So you can take pride. You stop smoking. So don't, and challenge yourself. What am I going to be around? Am I going to want to smoke? Push yourself. What are those feelings? And that is when you'll truly stop. If you keep yourself safe in a bubble, okay, that's when you're never, you've got to stretch yourself now. You've got to go, it's okay. If you want to smoke around me, that's fine. And if you don't like it, then just walk out the room. But that is when you step into your power. You truly step into your power when you go back. I do this all the time now. I step into I step into uncomfortable now. If it's uncomfortable, I know that's where I need to be, and I know I need to go deeper and deeper until that uncomfortableness. I'm happy sitting there. I might not stay there, but let's go into that. Let's go into that. Let's push it now, because I'm so not my willpower, but my self-worth and myself, because I've done the work, I can go there, and I don't go there with judgment, because I'm not bothered what other people say. You know, if somebody say, you're going to start smoking again, that's fine. That's your opinion. That's all it is. It's an opinion. I would actively now, you know, just, you don't have to. That's just me being me. But I would really love you to be able to go, do you know what? I did that, and actually I feel fine. And because it will actually help you get rid of the vaping. It'll actually and look for those little wins. Start writing down. I've noticed that my skin looks clearer. I've noticed that I smell better. I've noticed that people have commented that I'm not smoking anymore. I've noticed that people, so really forget any of the negatives, like I'm vaping. Go, what are the positives? And how can I accelerate those positives now? And that's what I want you to do now over the next 14 days or so. Really, really concentrate on the positives and really accelerate those positives forward. Is that all right?
Okay.
Brilliant.
Yeah, perfect.
So proud of you. And we will catch up again at some point. Thank you for doing this. And so all I'm going to say now is if anybody does want to find out more, I've got a new group, which is join.makeyourlifecount.co.uk. It's called community.makeyourlifecount.co.uk. I've actually got an addiction section in there now. So I talk about smoking so that you can start that path. It's a completely free community where you can learn about empowerment, transformation, and growth. We've got a community. It's literally days old. So come and join that. You can come to my Finding Your Power group, which is facebook.com/groups/finding your power. You can speak to all of the people that are in there. Some have worked with me, some haven't. But yeah, come in there. And once again, thank you so much. You are a superstar. And I think we'll say goodbye to everybody. So goodbye, and we'll see you all soon.
Okay. Thanks, Marcus. See you soon. Thank you.